Joining us now, Hartaj Singh, biotech analyst at Oppenheimer. Very good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining us. Why don't we start with the AstraZeneca vaccine, of course, approved in the UK today. Do you expect that and the J&J vaccine to ultimately get approval here in the US? And given the relative cost difference between that and Pfizer and Moderna, is that something that could damage those stocks in the future as we get into next year if they are approved, AstraZeneca and J&J?
Yeah, no, and thank you so much for having me. And it was great you showed that clip earlier. Here's the thing, we can speculate all we want, but I think a better way to maybe think about this is look at already vaccines that are approved and in the markets already. So you look at the flu vaccines, there's about 20 manufacturers that make them on any given year. The range of prices are anywhere as little as $5 to as high as $75. In fact, when I went to go get my flu vaccination a couple of months ago, my parents got the high-dose version, which was about $65. I got the cheaper version, excuse my language, which was about $10. And that just really has to do with the risk-benefit profile of the vaccine and where you are as an individual. Are you an adult? Are you healthy? Are you immune compromised? Are you a child? So the thing is that the more vaccines we have, the better it is. We need heterogeneity of approaches by manufacturers and also heterogeneity of prices, because we will have the premium price vaccines, like the mRNA vaccines will be, and then the ones that are cheaper, and that market will be pretty healthy.
We also need them to get distributed faster, especially in this country where Operation Warp Speed wanted to do 20 million by the end of the year. We're at 2 million. How do they speed that up in the new year? And where are you pointing blame? Why is that happening?
Yeah, I mean, look, Sarah, it's a really good question. The way I think about 2020 and 2021 is sort of like two halves to a game, right? We just got the first half done. There was some tremendous things we were able to accomplish in the first half, getting vaccines approved in record time, real vaccines with really good efficacy and safety. There have been some other good things that happened in the first half of this game. Now we're transitioning to the second half of this game. I think a lot of scientists and people in industry believe we can knock this pandemic down in 2021. But in order to do so in the second half, we're going to have to come up with a different game plan. That game plan will require more coordination between the federal government and the state government. It'll require more resources between all the governments and the federal government also, and just more coordination. I think that in our focus on getting the vaccines approved, we might have taken our eye off the ball a little bit in terms of the coordination that is required between the federal government and the state governments and the resources that are required. And I think in the second half with the new administration, we'll get there.
Let's pivot back to the soundbite we played and these new mutations. I don't know if you saw the full interview. I felt like he was, Professor John Bell was fairly constructive that the Colorado strain, the UK strain, won't be a major problem, but this South African strain could be. What's your view as to whether the rollout of vaccines could be derailed by more mutant strains like the one in South Africa?
Yeah, I mean, Wilfred, look, there is that possibility. I don't want to discount it or play it down, unnecessarily. I mean, there's always such a thing. Nature is an interesting entity that we all, live in. But let's just go back again to real life examples, right? For example, the flu vaccines again, other types of viruses. Many companies, scientists, in general, humanity, have dealt with viruses that mutate, all the time. In the flu vaccines, we actually have mutations occurring within the seasons and companies adjusting to that. So while I don't want to downplay the seriousness of these mutant strains that are occurring with COVID-19, I think this is an area that we have a lot of expertise in industry and in science, and I think we'll be able to tackle.
Hartaj Singh, thank you very much for joining us.
Great. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.